Hello everyone, welcome back to the OSX Development Daily. In this upcoming series, I'm going to talk about NSTextView, which is widely used in many text editors. And if you look at the API of NSTextView, actually there are quite a lot of new APIs since OS Capitan. So let's dive into it and play with some of the APIs. Here I have created an empty project and I'm going to add the text view to our storyboard using the component provided here. Search text view and then just drag it to the storyboard. The reason I want to start by using the storyboard and the NSTextView is mainly because it has a bunch of structure for the text view. Like it can be scrollable, so it is wrapped within the scroll wheel and then the click wheel. It has the scroller for the right side and the bottom side for scrolling vertically and horizontally respectively. This saves us a lot of time in setting up the structure. By having this, I can of course drag an IB outlet to our view controller in order to link that up. However, I'm going to create a subclass of the NSTextView. So let me first create a class and then connect through IB outlet afterward. Just like other cases, I create a subclass, name it my text view, and then save. This is like the default content, but I'm not going to use the draw red method here, so I could simply remove it. In order to apply this subclass of NSTextView, we need to modify the class attribute of the NSTextView here. Make sure you are selecting NSTextView and then set the class on the right side. Here it is. Now let me first connect this text view to our view controller like this, and it is setting to the type of our subclass. At this moment, if I run the application, it should be no difference as before. We can simply type something here and there. The first thing I want to play with is to play with some of the preset command in the text view. For example, if I type here and then if I type the tab key, it would create a tab. So this space is actually containing a tab character. I can tap multiple times, and in this case, back tab using the shortcut Shift tab does not have any implementation. Here, I would like to do is that if I type tab, it creates a bullet point like this. If I type Shift tab, which is back tab, I want to remove the bullet point. Of course, the bullet point I'm referring right now is simply hyphen and space. One more requirement here is that tab and back tab should be supported wherever I have the cursor, and it works for that particular line. So let's start with the actual work. To override or intercept those commands, we can do it within the subclass. We first override some of the methods of NSTextView. Say insert tab. For the tab, we can print out the content here. Print it to the console log. And then the other method is insert back tab. As you can see, in general, if I still want the original behavior to work, I should actually call super.insert tab here, so that the original behavior remains. Let's try running the application. Now if I type and then tab, it works as what it was, but now insert tab is printed. If I click the shortcut Shift Tab, just like before, nothing happened, but the console log is available. So now we can start modifying the behavior. First, we are not going to call super.insert tab here because we don't want that tab character to appear. And then we need to implement our behavior here. First, I would like to know the range. We'll make use of the range to handle these behaviors. We first want to know the current range, basically where the cursor is. We can make use of selected range function. This returns an NSRange. We can print the content to take a look. If I type something and at some point tab, so now as I remove a super.insert, the tab character is not added. And you see the value is printed here. It actually has two parts. The first one is what we call location. It is now at the 10th location from the start. 0 here means length, because we are not selecting a range of wordings. So right now the length is 0. We can make use of this selected range to find the paragraph. At this moment, the paragraph is the whole content here. If I return and it goes to another line, this actually becomes another paragraph. Of course, I can continue to type here. And if I click the tab button again, it retrieves the location, which is 54, all the way from the start of the text to the current position. And I'm not selecting anything as a range, so the length is 0. In this case, for paragraph, the start of paragraphs should be here, and the end is here. I want to find the paragraph so that the bullet point is added at this point instead of other places. I'm going to define a function which will calculate the paragraph for us. It returns two information. One is the paragraph string, and the second information is the paragraph range. In this case, I'm providing the current range, the selected range, which is NSRange type. NSRange is actually defined in the age of Objective-C. It is used to measure the NS string or the NS mutable strings. But in this case, I want to return the result of Swift string and Swift range. Swift range by default is noticed by range of string.index. This is the type used by default for defining a Swift range. You may wonder why I need to do it like this. It is quite obvious because we are writing the code in Swift. However, some of the APIs like selectedRange is still returning us NSRange. So in this simple example, you can see it is now a mix of Objective-C API and Swift API. We need to have some ways to convert back and forth. By the way, why do we need to do this? It is because the NSRange of Objective-C NSString is not compatible with the Swift range of the Swift string. So somehow be aware of the use of Objective-C or Swift syntax, and you should be able to convert them accordingly. Okay, back to our code. Right now, we will make use of the Objective-C selectedRange to find the information in terms of Swift. Let's start with a string here, which is taking the current text view's content, which is stored within string here. To simplify it, I would just unmap it to assume there is content within. In case, we could also use if let to have a check as well. But in this case, if it is really not a string, we should return an optional value here. So it is return new. And in this case, I'm going to first convert the NSRange into Swift range. We can make use of extension of NSRange to do it. I will define it like this. It is an NSRange extension with a function of string range for text. It takes in a string variable, which is a Swift string, and returns a Swift range. Basically, it finds the start position and the end position of the current selected range in terms of the Swift representation of range. Thus, the start position would be the string dot start index dot advance by self dot location, meaning it checks the string and then find its starting position, and it moves the cursor forward with the value of the location. For the end index, it uses the start where the location locates, and then advance by another value of the length here. So now start and end defines the starting and ending location of the selected range in the provided string. Now we could return the value in terms of the Swift range definition, like this. Alright, so we have this extension method, and now we can make use of this extension to do what? Which is provide the range here and the text of the current NSTextView. Why do we need to do that many things to convert NSRange into Swift range? Because the Swift string here, this is a Swift string, actually has a method of paragraph range for range, and this takes in the Swift range. So we can pass it like this, and this returns a range value, and I will call it paragraph range. And then we can make use of this to find the paragraph string using substring with range value, and this takes in a Swift range as well, where we have this already, the paragraph range, like this. And finally, we can return the value of paragraph string and paragraph range. Alright, it has been so much work, but we finally get the idea of the paragraph string and the range of the current selected range. So we can call this method here this would be paragraph and range, and provide selected range here. And then, in order to add, alright, let's see. Okay, because it is returning as optional. So let's do a flat here. Check it. Alright, in order to insert the text, which is a hyphen space, we can make use of the insert text method here. However, another issue exists. Insert text actually takes in NSRange, so we need a way to convert Swift range back to Objective-C range. We define the string we want to add here, which is hyphen space, and then we need to calculate the range of the inserting position. Let's do it like this. Start range. We can make an NSRange using NSMakeRange function or initializer here. We need some way to take the location. Of course, we can make use of the Swift range that we already know for the paragraph. In order to do that, we need to make use of our string of the whole text view, the current content, and take its take its start index like this, and then make use of distance to method. This will return an integer, which we can use to make the Objective-C NSRange. We compare or measure the length between the whole content start index to our current paragraph range dot start index. Make sure you are calling this method distance to where the value, the index outside, is earlier than the index inside. Otherwise, it will throw you errors. And then, since I'm just taking the position where I can insert the text, this position should have a length of 0, so that I'm not removing any other content. With the start range available, I can use the insert text method and provide start range here. So as you can see, we don't need the string here, so I can just turn it to underscore, meaning we don't store it in a variable. And now let's try to run the application. So if I start to type something, and anywhere I click tab, it inserts the hyphen and space there. I can continue, put somewhere, and now go back to a particular line and tab again. It adds the bullet point exactly on that line, which is that paragraph. So now let's try to implement the back tab as well. To do this, we first again get the value from paragraph and range, provided selected range, put a flag here. In this case, I'm going to remove it. We can make use of this method, replace characters in range, to remove it. Remove, basically we need a range on where we are going to remove and replace it with empty string. So we need to find the start position. Start with the location, and it's similar to what we did before. String dot start index dot distance to range dot start index. But this case, when we define the bullet range as NSRange, the location is what we find. However, the length should be 2, meaning 2 characters, the hyphen and then space. Thus, we provide this here. We are going to remove the selected range, a particular range, which is the start position of current paragraph, and it has a range of 2 containing the area of the hyphen and then space, and then replace it by empty string, literally removing the bullet point. So let's run the application. So tab to insert the bullet point, shift tab to remove it, tab, tab, shift tab, shift tab. Okay, that looks great. Of course, this is not a perfect example yet. One known issue would be if I tap multiple times, the bullet point will try to add up. If I click Shift Tab now, it will only remove the first one out there one by one. We'll need to add some logic in order to check whether we want to have one bullet point instead of many. And in a later stage, you may want to convert that bullet point, which is currently just a hyphen, into something like a picture or a font as well. Let's try to cover that in a later stage. And that's it for today, and I will see you tomorrow.